Damn, what are these YouTubers' names? We got Sin City Manny Wise. You heard about this?
Oh, the shooting?
Oh yeah, I sent you that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sin City Manny. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Today's just gonna be a day. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Ryan.
Dalmar.
Yo, we are back. Another episode of Cxmmentary.
Yes, sir.
Busy weekend, bro. BET Awards, IGN Live, Summer Games Fest.
Summer Games Fest.
Did you go to any of them?
I did. I mean, Summer Games Fest I watched. Always watch a streamer called Maximilian Dude. Him and I'm Dante is like my two co-streamers for every gaming online event. So it was cool. You know, I think it seemed like a lot of games were being saved for later in the year, but there was a couple cool announcements. Obviously, Xbox had their announcements. Yeah. So yeah, it was about. What'd you think?
From all the events that I went to, you know what I realized more than anything?
What?
Like, bro, I love video games, but I only like 4 games, bro.
What 4 games are those?
Like, my whole life, I just look back at it. Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty, 2K franchise.
Okay. That's fair.
So, like, when I'm watching, like, all these games fests and jams, I'm like, bro, it just dawned on me, like, bro, I don't play as many games as I thought I do. But
That's fair. Yeah.
But it was cool to, like, I'll say this, working backwards. So this weekend we were brought in to help create a gaming activation at the BET experience. So for those that are not familiar, first off, shout out to BET, shout out to Live Nation Urban for bringing us in. We truly appreciate that opportunity. We created kind of like this, it was gaming trucks, there was card games, not like trading cards, like spades, like traditional card games, whole bunch of arcade cabinets were set up. And it was just like really dope because when we think about gaming a lot, right, we're always talking about usually like that 18 to 34, like that core demographic. But what we saw at the BT experience, bro, it was like such a multi-generational opportunity because like parents were bringing let's say this differently. Kids was bringing their parents over and then you could see the parents sticking around because they may be playing like Super Mario Brothers or they may be playing Madden. And it really created, I think, a really unique experience at the BET Awards. And it was also, I said awards, at the experience specifically. What also happened though, BET and like their industry talks part of their weekend where they bring in like panel experts, professionals that are like doing really dope stuff across entertainment, music, whatever. They hosted their first gaming panel, so we were able to participate in that. Also, WNBA champion Ariel Power, shout out to Ariel. Real quick plug, she actually just got announced that she's joining the Valkyries, WNBA team that just launched in San Francisco.
Yeah,
so so I was really excited for her. She just put that on her social media yesterday. So the fact that we got to do a panel with them, with her on Saturday was dope. Dante Simpson and then also Anika Howard, both just doing phenomenal things across the gaming space. So it was really interesting, bros. We just talk about like gaming and culture and the leading platform now in culture, right? BET they're really like diving in and finding unique ways. So from that to watching Kai and Drewski kind of like do their thing on the red carpet. It was dope, bro. But nonetheless, my takeaway was your boy don't really play that many games, man.
Yeah, to be honest, like I feel like every time I watch later on, I'm like, man, there's so many games I watch. I'm like, oh, I'd play that, and I don't ever play them. To me, mostly because I'm not spending $60 on every game that comes out. Like even if it's well reviewed and everything. I don't know. It's like hard for me to be like, all right, like I'm gonna drop $60 on this game, and like I'm gonna get the same level of enjoyment as these other people. When there's a ton of these $10 games out there on Steam that you get in there with some homies, and like y'all create the fun from the game.
So you're more like indie games?
I wouldn't like necessarily say so. Like I feel like if I had a PS5 and I'm like, my routine is I get off work, I pull the PS5. I'm trying to play a game. I might play more of the AAA games. Yeah. But I don't know. Right now, I feel like there's just so many just games with the homies that are good. And the ones that you have already in your library, right? It's like, why need the next one, right? Like, they just announced Black Ops 7, which, interestingly enough, I think, like, Xbox is, like, the game that they're putting at the last of their presentation, right? Like, PlayStation had Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Everyone goes crazy. Xbox has Call of Duty, Black Ops 7. I even know we're at a 7. I thought we were still at 4.
No, bro, 6 just came out.
That's crazy.
It came out like last year.
Which is another crazy thing. Like, do we need another Call of Duty game again? Can they not create another type of game? Like, does it have to be Black Ops or Modern Warfare? Could it be like, I don't know, Special Ops? something else.
I don't know,
Yeah.
bro, because it works. You know, I recently learned, bro, like the Black Ops 6 production budget was north of like $600 million.
Like just for the creation of the game, or like
the
game marketing,
development, the support,
Yeah.
the marketing of it is like north of 600. But
Yeah.
it generates a little bit over $1 billion. So I don't know, bro. I may keep it. I may run up. I may pull a Fast and Furious on it, bro. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going until it just keep going, bro.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like just run it, treat it the same.
Yeah.
People gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I purchase skins every now and again.
Yeah.
I don't know when that started happening in my life.
I mean, as you play a game more, like I think it was for me, League of Legends, like I'm putting in, 10 hours a week on this game, right? At the time when I'm playing, it's like if I spend $10 to buy a skin, it's the same price as a couple cups of coffee, and I use the skin every time I play. So for the next 200 hours of gameplay, I'm using it. It's worth it.
No, what it is they got you because they know that we be playing these games, and you can't look at the same skin or the same skin on a gun every single time.
Right.
Like you got to get a different operator. Now, every now and again, bro, I may spend like $20-$40 a month.
Yeah.
Ish. Just to, look a little bit different than what I care about.
Right.
But I'll tell you this, what was really interesting, because again, I didn't see any of Summer Games Fest. I was potentially maybe supposed to go over to it, but it didn't work out. But going to IGN Live was pretty cool.
Okay.
So IGN Live, well, let me ask, can people go to Summer Games Fest or is it all produced?
I actually don't know if there's tickets. I think there's probably tickets to like the convention floor, but to like the presentation of games, I believe that's like invite.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Nonetheless, so IGN Live was at this venue downtown LA. What it is, it's like a miniature version of E3. So the publishers, I can't remember, it was like 2K was up there. They had like this really built out like indie game area, kind of like what you're talking about, right? Like those $10, $20, $30 titles. And then they had kind of like their own version of a showcase. I know Xbox displayed some things there. It was crazy, bro. Programmatically, one of the reasons that we were invited is, of course, they're trying to diversify kind of like not only their programming, but like their activation partners and just bring like a different flair to the experience. Because what was funny this past weekend, it was like, while that was going on in one part of downtown, right down the street was BET, where it was like a cultural hub.
Right.
But you didn't have any of the gaming industry there, right? That was just there. So it was just really interesting, bro, to like have this dual perspective over the 2 days, and for us to just honestly be in a position where we can continuously like bridge the gap and find cool ways. But then also right outside was the protest. But there was a lot of things happening in downtown LA this weekend.
Yeah.
Because my mom had called me. I was like, ironically, I was outside of BET, just like taking a break from being inside. My mom called me. She's like, "Yo, are you good?" I was like, "I think so." Like, I don't even know what was, at this time, like, I didn't even know what was going on. And she was like, "Yo, they're protesting." And I got online and I started to see what was happening in the fashion district.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like this weekend was impactful. I think also for me, this weekend like reassured why I came to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like literally in one weekend, you have like the 3 biggest things that happen within your industry and culture.
Right.
And to have kind of like a hand in each of those was like really dope, bro.
Yeah. And I think a big thing to note is just, taking a step back, like big picture, or I guess like more bird's eye view, like really of Summer Games Fest and the BET Awards, that you have a convention or award shows created for these Black entertainment figures that aren't necessarily getting the shine they're supposed to be getting from the industry, right? And building on top of, music and television and film, right? Like providing more resources to these people, more opportunities. And that is kind of shining light of what, we've been able to do over the past, when did you say it was first founded?
What?
BT?
45 years ago, whatever year that is.
Yeah, okay.
This is their 45-year anniversary year.
Right. So 45 years of, seemingly more like collective action to, kind of drive a space, build a table within traditional media.
Correct.
Right. Then you have games right there as well, where you have a whole bunch of Black players of games, right? But not the Black workers and leaders in these gaming companies, right?
Correct.
And I think that just, again, to your point, like just shows like there is opportunity there, right? Of, hey, like just the same as you're able to take control of media from music, television, film, all those different things, the same needs to happen for gaming as well, right? Yeah. And, carving out that space, showcasing Black developers, providing resources for them. The $600 million they need to create, Black Ops 6, right, to make $1 billion, right? Where's that going to come from?
Right. Well, like what rooms and what spaces? I know like we're building up on it. Like an example room, DreamCon, right? An example room. This was a test this weekend at BET. Next year, I think what you just said is like would be dope to have like a developer showcase. Like you're inviting the best Black game publishers. You're pairing them with talent that's already being routed through BET to showcase like reach and interest, because all of this is boils down to just literally passions and connecting the right dots. Because to your point is like you have the audience, you have developers, you have media dollars, and you have brands and agencies that want to reach these audiences, right? How do you create the environment so all of that can thrive kind of simultaneously? I'm really, really interested to see kind of like what the development of that is. Even what you said, I think it was Jamie Foxx, if not Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg at the actual award show, because what you said I think is really important is like BET doesn't also just, or the award of BET is significant. And they're talking about the significance, the greater significance it should have to like even the Oscars or like the Grammys, because it's us being recognized by us, fitting outside of someone else's agenda that's trying to leverage our culture to build their story and to build their narrative. Right. So I do agree. And it was interesting though. And bro, we talked about this like maybe episode 1, this potential tension between like the streaming world and like traditional entertainment and media, and you're starting to see it with like Talil, right? Yeah, for an example, who couldn't get into the award. You saw about that? You heard about that?
Yeah. When he had his niece with him,
and his niece, but I don't know if that was what caught my attention, because I was like, that may make sense, right? Like I don't know the rules of BET enough to understand like who and can't come out, but it was the terminology around like icon, right? Only icons get to leverage that type of privilege, right? And even to, I know Kai kind of stepped in, but even to that point, I think in the same effort of BET trying to leverage and expose gaming audiences to grow its brand still hasn't fully recognized the transition of interest as it relates from traditional media to like new form media. And who the influencers are and the influential factors. Because last thing I'll say here, bro, it was interesting. So we went to the celebrity game. They had a basketball game on Saturday as well. But they were live streaming it, and we cut on the Twitch channel, and it was about, at the time, about 34 to 50-ish people were watching. Wow. And I was like, yo, there's such a clear opportunity when you have these creators like Zoe Spencer was playing, right? Yeah. Like, why not have her stream IRL from BET's channel as she's doing her? So like, bro, there's just so much low hanging fruit, and it goes to show that like even those in position that are like guiding our culture, this new space is still like the wild, wild west and what they need to figure out. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Starting from Kai, right? Like, obviously you have Kai there, but to me that's kind of more of a no brainer these days. Yeah, there's this new space of streaming. Kai's the big dog. You get Kai involved, right? Like every award show is doing it. Right. Props for that, but I think that's just like the very baseline. Just seeing the people coming up to him of like, hey, like let's collab, or like, my music or whatever, like getting in his personal space. Like, I think, the Wale situation, right? I was disappointed, man. Yeah. Disrespecting the DMV. That's true, but, I think that just harkens back to my knowledge of Wale, and just maybe a better opportunity could have been taken of, hey, this dude didn't know me, like let me send him a mixtape he can play on stream, right? Let's get a stream going, right? Like I'm not gonna come up and press him, right, about you made me look weird on stream when they can hear you too, but maybe he just doesn't understand that. I've been wondering, like, you think that's real? That was a real moment? I do, just from Kai's own reaction. Yeah, it's just hard. Remember we talked about that, like it's hard to tell, right? Because to your point, is like I don't know why Wale did that. Yeah, I would have left it, because now there's a whole bunch of comments like it just doesn't make it look no better, right? And again, I think it's just the lack of knowledge probably around the streaming space of like, if I come up to him to talk to him right now, everyone's gonna hear what I'm saying. So even if you had an issue with it, talk to him at a different point in time, text him or something, right? Don't say it on stream, because now people are gonna be like, reacting to your clips, and like now there's so many additive opinions that could have like this is really interesting. Yeah. This is crazy. It almost, I think the other person, didn't this happen to Coco Jones the other week?
Yeah.
When she was like saying that Talil was only there for promotion because her team didn't know the microphone.
Right.
Yo, that's really interesting. Like how potentially, because to be fair, everyone kind of streams music, but like this Twitch community has a lot of value on the internet. Like they can basically make or break an artist before an album comes out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, if not done correctly, yo, a lot of people could be damaged through this.
Yeah.
Because like Wale, to your point, he could have had a resurgence like Young LA.
Yeah.
With his freestyle going, came out when I'm in middle school. Now all the young kids on TikTok think it's a new song.
Wow. I didn't even hear about that. That's crazy.
Bro, you know, don't you like my vegetables, eggs and cheese, bro?
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is like, bro, that song came out when we were in middle school. Like literally, the resurgence of it is through this new generation of streamers and TikTok and influencers. So I'm like, an artist like Wale could have a resurgence with the right interaction, knowing that the microphone's on. Because like if I'm Wale, like, all right, bet I'm recognizing that happened. My assumption is like time passed, right?
Yeah.
So now his team is like talking to him backstage, like, yo, bro, you know this moment just happened. You going crazy on the internet.
Yeah.
If I know what to do, I'm going up to Kai and I'm saying something different that makes the fans buy into me, versus something that makes me look like the validation of us not knowing who you are.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you know, I think I want to say No Hands is probably his only like featured like diamond single.
Nah, bro, Wale got hits. Lotus Flower Bomb.
No, for sure. All I'm saying is like you could take like No Hands and like that could be the way in or something, just like, yo, talk about it on stream or whatever it is.
Right.
But really in general, just like to your point, to me, I think the BET Awards could have integrated like more with streamers, right? Like give Tylil more, right? Like you don't need to give it to everybody. Like Rakai, definitely don't give him streaming rights to it. But like you could have a few more people streaming, give them more rights to stream everything. And you know, really like again with the celebrity game, right? Like you have Kyrie Irving who's streaming on Twitch, right? Like maybe he could have been one of the commentators, right? Or like have it be somebody who has like some sort of following so that people actually watch it on the stream. But in general, just like, you know, obviously it's a very new thing, but just clipping, right? Like the whole BET Awards could have been clipped because most people these days, it seems like, are engaging with like tentpole moments on traditional media, on TV, through clips and highlights, right? Like most people aren't watching, let me not say that. A lot of people aren't watching games, they're watching the highlights of the games afterward, right? A lot of people, I haven't watched the Oscars in forever, but like I'll watch the clips as they come through, right? Like everybody obviously watched the slap, right? But like not as many people are watching the actual thing, right? So like let those clips happen, invest in clipping, all those different things. But I think it just takes like a higher level of knowledge of the space to be able to do that. Yeah,
it was crazy. So I had a thought about that this week on the business side of what you just said, right? From the streaming. So it starts with the icon comment. To the streaming of the award show thought. So the icon comment I think is interesting. One, we talk about this all the time. It is really hard to define these large scale streamers until they cross over into traditional media where the entertainment value is centralized, right? Like on an album or a TV show or a movie where like they're recognized across all forms of media because again, a lot of content consumers still do not consume like social media content. So that was like the first half of like how like Tyler, you're not an icon. Yeah, you're a popular streamer, but you're not Jamie Foxx, right? We haven't seen you in film, TV, album, stream mode, etc. The other half of it I think is interesting is that I don't know how these worlds collide. Like literally Viacom may have to do a deal. This may not have to happen at all. This is what I'm thinking about. They may have to do a deal with Twitch to allow the streaming because you got to think BET sits behind a paywall, right? It's a network program. So a lot of the community right now is tying like, yo, they're not streaming. Like that's unfair. I'm like, yo, I'm actually sure it's just like rights consideration because now the programming that Viacom is generating revenue through their paid channels and they're counting impressions. Like they lose impressions to Twitch from, so like I think that's just a really interesting, like they have to figure that out because like how would you be able to stream from any like live award show? And I'm like, do they even stream from like NBA games? Like I know Kai goes to the NBA, but like did he stream from the game?
No, I don't think I've ever seen streaming at NBA games.
And I'm like, I think that's going to be like a challenge ongoing. Is like, how do you bring IRL streaming to live events, award shows that have rights with traditional networks?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's probably like the award show itself, right? And obviously making sure that is protected. But maybe it's adding more pre-show things. And definitely like, you know, just going back to the whole conversation of like approaching the space and like knowing more about it. I think what was great from this past BET Awards was like the kind of showcase of like, not, you know, recent history of hip hop, but like, you know, 2010s, you have T.I. performing, Jim Jones, like all that stuff, right? And it just kind of was eye-opening to me of like, okay, obviously we're celebrating that, but does this audience know anything past like 2015 to the most part? And like, you know, that's not even getting to 2020 of like streaming and all those different things. So it's kind of hard to be like, all right, the same time we're having, you know, this history of like 2000s, we're also gonna have streaming, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like the audience wasn't and isn't developed for, because if you think historically, there's no content that ever catered towards kind of like gaming anime content creation on BET's platform.
right.
So there is like this compounded gap of interest that's missing.
Yeah.
So it's like you have this massive audience that's grown with you for 45 years.
Yeah.
And then you have this new audience, but they have no way to connect to the platform.
Yeah.
It's like the connection at the bottom versus the top would be like Kai, but then it's like only a portion of Kai can come because he can't bring that digital. So like, and that's where I was like, yo, there is this weird opportunity like right in the middle to like service those that want to go backwards and those that are, again, continuously to grow and progressing forward.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I think it's all new.
Yeah.
I think that though, for their first effort, and I think this was Kai's first time at the BET Awards, at least in this capacity.
Yeah.
So it was cool how they incorporated them. I think also when I was playing the game and it was on the laptop, I had it in the background. I think the disconnect is like how this generation entertains.
Yeah.
It's also much different. Like it's very loud and very like abrupt.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, it was like very polished and like smooth. But like Kai and Drewskip, they're just like yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
So I was like, you could see some of the camera pans to the audience, kind of like it's funny, but like I don't really get it. What's happening right now?
Yeah.
But it's a new thing, and we hear.
Yeah. I mean, I think what the best thing probably was picking Kevin Hart. I don't know what his level of involvement was with production, but I would assume he probably was a big hand in saying, "Hey, let's get Kai and Drewski involved," right? Because he obviously sees like this is the, you know, the way forward, you know, online digitally. Getting them involved, you know, because, you know, to your point as well, like you have this kind of 45-year history, but you also have now this Gen Z. Like how do they get interested in the BET Awards if they don't know "We Fly High" by Jim Jones, right? They're sitting there like, okay, everyone's singing this, but like they're not playing Ice Spice or whatever. Like it's not for me, you know. So yeah, I mean, it was like I had my doubts as well, just thinking about like, do these people know Kai? Like, are they going to be like this funny? But also, at the same time, I think Kevin Hart is so good at his craft that he was able to do it.
Right.
And so he's kind of like bridging the gap between, all right, here's the traditional, you know, stuff that is normally funny and, you know, brings, you know, people entertainment in this space, but like also how can I like tie in, you know, this new generation?
Yeah. Yeah. To your point is they know Kai because literally his name is everywhere, but I would imagine that most people that attend the BET Awards don't watch streams.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like there's no context behind the name you hear.
Yeah.
And so I was like, a lot of times these are people's like first interactions with, you know, these names and faces. So it's cool. We did not get to go to the award show, but it was dope just to kind of like watch it from a third perspective after you had like your own experience there throughout the weekend. And I just think that there's a lot of opportunity. Last thing I'll say on BET Awards or the experience. So Saturday and Sunday. So doors open around 12. And it wasn't until like maybe 3:30 each day that they actually started bringing in like DJs and like the artist performances started. So I had this idea of like next year we could create like an anime, like essentially do like trap sushi in that first 2-hour window. Because I was like, the whole idea is like bringing in new people, new audiences, and filling the venue. It's like, yo, we could bring in so many people earlier in the day. So I was like, yeah, bro, better run that idea about them real quick.
Yeah. And I've listened to what you said in the past episode, so I'm not going to give away free game right now, but there should definitely be a pre-show of some sort that, you know, kind of goes in that direction.
You know, gotta be. What else going on? Shout out to Xbox handheld.
Yeah, that was, you know, what'd you think about it?
I'm excited.
Excited?
I never had Nintendo anything. So like I've never been into like Switch. I don't dislike it. It's not my thing.
Right.
So I've been waiting on Xbox to drop something. I was like, yo, airport experiences is never going to be the same.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously I think from that standpoint, that's a good perspective because it's one I didn't think of literally just this is bringing more people to the handheld space.
Oh, for sure.
People who didn't know about the ROG Ally before. I mean, I don't know really that much about the specs. You know, how it compares to the Steam Deck, how it compares to the Switch 2. But it is interesting that Xbox is headed in that direction. I don't know how many people will be in the market for handheld, especially with so many other ones on the market too. But yeah, I mean, it's just like interesting business move from Xbox.
Well, no, because to my knowledge, like you said, that device, the Ally, like it's already been out. So my assumption is Xbox is like, yo, we don't want to make a device. Y'all not selling a device. We got games. Y'all don't got games. Let's come together. I'll be real with you, bro. I've never been one into specs. People be like, yo, the PS5 got 200. Like, my stuff worked, bro. Like, mine's work, yours work.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever made a decision console-wise based on specs. I have based on size of controller, though.
Okay.
That's one. That's been one.
For sure.
That's been one. But no, I'm excited for that. We were talking about Nintendo Switch before you got here. The second one, of course, dropped.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest things that's happened in the gaming community in a minute. But what I liked about it the most was like it brought back midnight releases.
Yeah, that was cool.
See that, I think it was mainly New York from what I saw, but like there was multiple stores with multiple lines wrapped around the block to get this. I was like, yo, we got to bring this back. Yeah,
and even like, you know, without the whole, because I don't know if I want to say they had enough stocks. It was never like a, hey, like you're here, you're waiting to hopefully get it. If you're not here, you're not going to get it. But I do think there should just be more community events, right? Like that as part of the whole marketing campaign for games, right? Like bringing back these midnight releases just to get people out, you know, like, you know, maybe you have a space somewhere where people can hang out and like do things before the release happens and then they can pick them up and get it. I think that would be cool. I would actually go to one of those if it's just say, hey, like we'll all be hanging out playing these games and then it'll come out, right? And then we all like, you know, go get it. Like that's just more of like an experience to go to and like cool, you know, I don't know, GTA brought me here and like I wanted to come out and like support, right?
Yeah, it's like, I got you. So essentially it's like get a space, do something dope with it, but it's also a storefront.
Yeah.
So you come hang out like 2-3 hours before, but as you enter, you get a ticket.
Yeah.
That way, you know, that's your spot in line because when it's time to get in line, we can't have no people fighting.
Right.
So like you already done. Who we got to bring this to?
It's a great question. Hoping you would know.
Bro, we got to stop talking about this stuff
true.
on the thing.
The free game's been given away.
Next time, you know, people are going to just switch up a little marketing slide and next thing you know, we're going to see our ID in the place. No, I think that's absolutely correct, man. And I think going back to, funny enough, instead I was done with it. I lied, I guess.
Yeah.
The BET Experience Gaming Lounge had like a retro fit vibe. And I just think now, even seeing the Switch 2 midnight release, I think one of the things the gaming community has always appreciated is retro vibes.
Yeah.
And like, let's bring back the types of activations that got us to where we were today. We're just, have you heard of this social media page called Hype Geek?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, so a dude out here in LA, I think he actually runs it. But point is like he actually posts a lot of like the nostalgia, like Xbox activations in like 2001 on Melrose, or like when Tokyo, well, I say when Sony took over like a calf in the middle of Tokyo, it was like a PlayStation lounge. I was like, yo, how do we bring stuff like that back? Because now everything is like these independent LAN centers.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, that's not it. But these unique one-off moments that maybe last for 3 to 4 days,
Yeah.
pop-ups, I'm with that.
Yeah. I mean, it probably was just the idea of at the time you're trying to like grab market space, like capture, your end of the market, right? Get the teens for Sega and all this kind of stuff. And so you did that at those times. And, in a less online world, that was the way to do it, right? Now that we're online, it's probably, simpler just to do these online things, but right, like bring a community to a space, I'd be there. But going back to what you're talking about the handhelds, I think the interesting thing about that space is, to my understanding, Nintendo, since they had like 90% of the video game space, right, before the 64 came out, 64 on the PlayStation. And they lost that market space because Sony entered and then Microsoft entered right afterward. They didn't do CDs. Then they didn't do CDs right with GameCube. Wii comes out, that did well. Then it came with the Wii U. So like they had, kind of fits and starts when it came to consoles. But the one thing that always was good for them was the handheld. Yeah. Right? From the Game Boy till today, it's always been the foundation of the company that's, succeeded. And now that they're in the console is the handheld space. My question is, because I've heard this elsewhere as well, like, are they now in an iPhone world, right? Where you need to, be releasing, newer versions of this handheld consistently? Or are people going to keep buying this handheld, right? Because they're not going to be competing with the other handhelds, right? Like the smartphone market of like, cool, you have the iPhone, but you also have this Motorola phone. You also have this Samsung phone, right? So I think it's interesting, like, can you keep making newer ones that are desirable? Or are people like, hey, I've got the one I have. Why do I need another one?
Yeah, I think interesting enough because the root of it is gaming. I think they're fine. Just looking how long the Switch to Switch 2 lasted. Yeah. And even up until the Switch 2 came out, people were still buying Nintendo Switches. Yeah. That's just my thought though. Yeah. What I will say is like, as more players come into the space, I do think that they will have to be more innovative in their approach and like in their marketing and really how they're delivering the product. Because I will say, bro, like I can't confirm it, but I would imagine Xbox is going to do reasonably well. I mean, even just like I told you, like I'm just one of probably many, right? That have not been in the space. And technically speaking, whether I've not been in the handheld space or not, they lost market share to Xbox because of someone like me. But here's the thing about Switch. They kind of have a cheat code, right? Because isn't it a console and a handheld? Yeah. So I was like, they kind of won because you literally plug it up to a TV and have like multiple controllers and everything. Yeah. So I was like, I think that they kind of got a leg up. Yeah. I mean, low key still. Yeah. More seamless experience for sure. I mean, it's always going to come down to games, right? Like which games are on this thing, Do the kids like Mario is the big question. That's the $1 million question for Nintendo. Do the kids care about Mario? Yeah. Because we care about it. But for an example, when we came up, Roblox didn't exist. Right. When we came up, Minecraft didn't exist. Yeah. So I'm like, if I'm Nintendo right now, I'm making sure the kids still care about Mario. Yeah. Because I don't even know if kids want to see the Mario movie. That was adults, bro. True. I mean, it went crazy. Yeah, but that's adults that brought kids. Yeah. Did kids want to see the Mario? What I'm saying is I don't know. That's fair. But if I'm Nintendo over the next 5-10 years or so, that's the question. Like, how do I keep this IP as relevant as possible when there's all this new young age IP? Yeah, that's fair. The way I look at it as well is, I think the games that are like optimized for that space, right? Like your Breath of the Wilds, the Zeldas, probably Mario Kart, things like that. Those are like kind of optimized for this form factor. Does Call of Duty feel the same when I'm playing it on a handheld versus on the big TV screen? My question is, I don't know yet because I never played FPS on. But what I would imagine is, even with the handheld, I would assume you could probably do the same thing I do with my phone with COD Mobile, and you could probably Bluetooth the controller. Yeah, that's my assumption. Yeah, but I don't know, bro. It by definition can't feel the same. So I was like, how does that experience compare if I'm playing on a handheld, I'm in Warzone, and everyone's on mouse and key or a controller?
Yeah.
So like that competitive skill gap is going to be there. But bro, we just trying to kill a few hours before we can get back to our console.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not gonna be. I don't even think it has to be perfect. It just gotta work.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's a good question too, right? Like, say you're in the airport lobby, waiting on a plane, they're calling boarding, right? You're in the middle of an online game. You can't pause the
I'm
game.
not gonna hold you. Like, you got to be smart enough to know that you got 15 minutes before boarding, or you start the game when you get on the airplane.
Yeah.
Let me ask: Can you connect a Switch to airplane Wi-Fi and play online?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can connect it. I just don't know like the level of bandwidth that you'll be able to get. Your upload download speeds, like all those different things to be able to play in an online. Like I've played mobile games
Right.
with the airline Wi-Fi, and at times it's cut out.
Gotcha.
So
I got an idea for Delta. So you know how like Xbox got cloud gaming with like their little USB drive and Amazon, whatever. They need to figure out an integration where you could plug in the cloud drive to TV and Delta, and you can play your games.
Yeah,
on the little
that'd be
monitor.
lit. Yeah,
I got ideas, bro.
it's $1 million a game.
And like literally, it would be dope to do like the first air flight COD tournament.
That'd be crazy.
So like you bring all the pros like on an airplane.
Yeah.
And like the circuit, you know, like COD goes to cities and like they play in like LA and Dallas and DC. Like they just land in those cities, but they play in the air.
That'd be crazy.
And then you just land and have a meet and greet.
Yeah.
That may make no sense, but this is what I'd be thinking about.
Yeah. No, 100%. To be honest, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about because I just actually saw this before I got here. Was I was watching a clip of it was taken out of context, but
It was taken out of
but I think it actually brings up a good point. Is Mark Phillips from RDC was talking about obviously everyone's looking to be a streamer now because you've seen Stream University, you've seen DreamCon, all those different things. And now it's obviously come to topic of conversation where he was like, hey, go be a scientist, don't become a streamer, right?
Yes.
And he obviously was saying that in the sense of like, not don't become a streamer, it's too saturated, it's too late, but more of, hey, it's not the only thing that you can do. There's so many other opportunities you could do and get paid a lot of money to do.
Right.
And it's more likely than not, most people who try to become streamers are not going to reach even the heights of RDC, right? Much less Kai, right? So I know what your take is on that.
A few weeks ago, I told you, I think, and I truly believe, the crash out from those trying to be content creators is going to be more than those that had like hoop dreams.
Yeah.
Because the thing about hoop dreams is that certain person already knew just based on physical attributes and stature that you couldn't do certain things from an athletic perspective.
Yeah.
Any and everybody can be a content creator, bro.
Yeah.
And so I think like what he's saying is exactly in a similar nature. Like, don't focus on just making it to the league. And that's where a big part of my story is like, bro, I was a realist, bro. As a young kid, NBA, high school, bro, there's this thing called Ball is Life.
Yeah.
I'm seeing John Wall play for the first time.
Yeah.
I knew I'm not going to the NBA.
Right.
Like, I'm seeing guys do things in basketball I didn't even know were possible.
Yeah, and they're 6'9", playing point guard.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to take on this little college experience. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to the league. Like, I'm not even going to stress myself out with that nature. But let me do this. Let me figure out what I can do to stay as close as I possibly can to basketball the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That led me to grad school, sports management, to try and be an agent. And then ironically enough, I was like, this gaming thing actually sounds pretty cool. And I can stay close to all of it. But that's the same type of mentality. It's like, you don't have to be a streamer. You can work in production. You can work in events. You work in marketing. You can work on the legal side of the business. There's just so much to do.
Right.
So like I support the statement because, again, like we talk about right now, because of things like Streamer University, unfortunately, a lot of the antics around content creation also have negative outcomes. And a lot of them is rooted in crash out culture.
Yeah.
And has a lot of like negative impacts on society, bro. Even speaking about this, two examples, one example at minimum, right? I don't know about the two confirmed.
Yeah.
About the YouTuber that killed the other YouTuber in Las Vegas. That is an example of you have no business being a content creator, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is so far out of the bounds of what content creation is supposed to be. So for those that aren't familiar, I actually don't know his name, but we're going to read his name. I have a tweet pulled up right here to prepare myself. I lost it, so I'm not prepared. Oh, Lord. His name is Sin City Manny Wise.
Yeah.
Reportedly target. Yeah. So long story short, there's these two YouTubers. They live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Apparently, their YouTube beef started because they make reactions on each other's videos.
Yeah.
But they then submit copyright infringements to like demonetize and get each other's channels shut down.
Right.
So it's been ongoing for a long time. So on this particular day, like 2-3 days ago, this dude, Sin City Manny, let's just call him Sin City Manny, whatever.
Right.
He decided to get on his YouTube, made a video like driving around Vegas looking for bruh.
Yeah.
Found him on the Las Vegas Strip. Ended up shooting him and his wife, killing them.
Yeah.
Like 8 o'clock Las Vegas Strip night.
Yeah, it was pretty bright outside, to my understanding from the video.
It was dark, but it's dark enough. It's like
There's probably like lights out.
It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's crossing. My point is, it's like not even 4 o'clock in the morning, bro.
Yeah.
You don't need to be no content creator.
Right.
And what I'm saying is completely far-fetched from what Mark just said.
Yeah.
But there's this idea now that if you have a little bit of following, that like there's this grand life waiting for you on the other side.
Yeah.
And again, people don't recognize how much opportunity and favor and work goes into being an RDC, let alone a Kai or a Drewski or a Speed.
Right.
So now I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I support it, man. And I think there's gonna be a rude awakening for like the next 5 to 10 years when like these 10 to 15, 20-year-olds really realize that they're like chasing like an empty dream.
Yeah, 100%.
And I really, I want to clear this up too, because we got a podcast and we support creators.
Yeah.
I support everyone chasing what they should do.
Right.
But content creation is no different than any other attempt to be great in life.
Right.
And it's just recognizing that, hey, if you have something, put all your work and energy into it.
Yeah.
And recognizing it, just like I did when I was hooping.
Right.
It may not be there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, I fully support it as well. You know, I still think about it to this day, you know, because I did band in high school.
What'd you play?
Played saxophone.
You know, it's crazy. I played saxophone in high school.
Oh, word. Okay.
No one actually even knows these things about me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Was it alto, tenor?
I mean,
No
Wiltshire,
more?
bro, I played for 6 months and I was
Okay.
like, bro, I'm done with this. When I played that jump.
I mean, but I mostly did it for the social aspect. My
Yeah.
brother was actually really good at it. He practiced. I think he has perfect pitch, so he can like hear a note and like say what the note is.
I had asthma, bro. I couldn't breathe.
Oh yeah,
That
so
was
like,
what I was like, bro, I couldn't even.
you didn't even be like on the drums or something.
All right, my bad.
But no, you good. But since probably 3rd grade, I want to say, I've been like the fastest kid in school, right? And so, you know, I'm watching football, you know, on TV. I play a little bit of basketball too, but like, you know, just wasn't really the sport I was like most attracted to. But my parents were like vehemently against football, right?
Okay.
For good reason. And so I, you know, up until probably like college, I was like, man, like I really wish I had done football. Like I could have been playing, all this kind of stuff. But obviously, you know, there's injuries that come with it, the CTE, like all those different things. It's like, hey, like, is this really the best route for somebody to do? And necessarily being the, you know, fastest kid in middle school doesn't mean that you're going to be, you know, by the time you get to the the NBA level, NFL level, you're going to be at the same, you know, crazy, like, you know, being so much faster than everybody else. But like thinking about that, and then my parents focusing on academics, and then being able to go to a school like University of Arizona, right? Just, you know, showcases hey, there's other opportunities to be able to get to where you want to go. And yeah, I think it's, you know, same thing with streaming, right? Like there's only so many spots,
Correct.
right? Like the NBA is probably one of the worst things to go after, because there's 11 spots on the team.
It's like 319 jobs or something like that. 320-ish jobs.
Yeah. Like, again, there's opportunities around basketball that you could do. There's coaching, there's production, right? There's being a host, right? There's other things you can like do at the same time you're doing basketball, but like be, you know, just cognizant of that. I think that's what he was talking about, right? Of like, hey, you know, think about this more. And then to your point with the dude in Vegas, right? Like there are those negative things that come with streaming. Like you're streaming live somewhere, right? Again, in a very unfortunate situation, right? Now the person knows where you are, right? That you have some sort of issue with, right? DDG, you know, at DreamCon, right? People know where you are, right? The streamers who were in Universal and the stalker came up and accosted them. Like, people know where you are, right? And so it's not necessarily, there's not necessarily like everything about it is just hunky dory. Like you get up one day, now you've got 1,000 viewers, right? Like,
Right.
and you're doing that for 10, 12 hours a day, right? To entertain people. So I think it's just a little bit of like, people being cognizant of, hey, like this is the opportunity, but like, just be aware of like what's going on.
The thing about it too is like as it gets larger, one is like the reminders that content creation can be a career, but content creation at the basis of it it's an industry within itself. So that's to your point, support so much. And the thing also is like content creators are by definition they're human, so they're opinionated, right? So a lot of their content is subjective versus objective, and the fact of what you're saying, anyone could be live. You don't even know who you're offending half the time, right? Half the time you think that the culprits are the ones that you may be talking about directly in a video, not knowing you could piss off some far right or far left person because of your belief in what day you decide to praise the Lord, right? And I'm like, there's just so many nuances to like how you share that. And again, bro, like that's the stuff I'd be thinking about, not just the fame and the fandom. I'm like the day-to-day journey, those that are supporting you, but someone may wake up one day and know that you're going to be at a space and time.
Right.
And I'd be thinking about that too. Not even the fact that like we're large, but it's just like paranoia. It's like, damn, bro, like people could literally find us because we announce where we're going well in advance of where we're going. Yeah. So that's why I stay prayed up, bro. Like, I don't try and wrong nobody. I see everyone at the party, bro. What's up, bro? Like, I hope all is well.
No issues.
Try and have no issues as much as possible. But no, it is interesting, bro. And I know we say it almost every episode, but just to be in a unique position where not only do you get the perspective, you get the opportunity to engage, and then you also get the opportunity to create as this is all happening at the same time. Yeah. I'm like, yo, it's dope.
Yeah. And I think it also harkens back to a conversation that happened a long time ago where Hassan Piker was speaking about how hard streaming was as a job. And I think he just put it poorly because, comparing it to a 9-to-5 job, there really is no comparison, right? They're just different, outputs of effort, we'll say. Because like streaming is you're by yourself for 10, 12 hours a day, especially if you're not at Hassan's level, right? Talking to a couple people in chat, entertaining them the whole time, even if no one's engaging back with you, right? That is exhausting, right? But comparing it to somebody who's 9-to-5, maybe not making as much, because he's speaking from a place of privilege, it's not a great thing to say. But just again, to those people who are aspiring for this career, it's like, hey, there's no guarantee this is working out. And the amount of effort you're putting into this, right, to make it for a lot of people is just, not even feasible, right? You've got to be working and then spending your time after work streaming, right? Like I knew of a creator who, I believe she was in the Navy and then would get off shift, stream up until the next time she had to go back to deployment or for service, right? And take a couple hours sleep, do it, come back, and like really like grinded that thing out, right? So it's like, that's not for everybody. But yeah,
that's the big thing. Is like streaming. I think at the end of the day, I look at it as like you work your butt off for the privilege. And it's one of the careers where I don't think, no matter what perspective I look at it from, it's a privilege. Yeah. And I define that by like, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory. Quite literally and theoretically speaking, no one needs it. Yeah. So if you're able to generate revenue from it, it's nothing but a blessing. Right. Like that's how I look at the content creator economy. Is a lot of people, and I think an issue is like a lot of people feel like they deserve to be paid. Yeah. Or like this should be working out for them, not even recognizing it's like the blessed of the blessed are the ones that break through because it's such a non-essential thing. Right. Like it's interesting, bro. We talk about just like forms of entertainment. It could be one of the, we just think about history is like probably one of the more non-essential forms of entertainment. Yeah. It's like you actually don't have to be entertained by watching someone's life all day. Yeah. It's like that's where we've gotten to because we've seen so much other entertainment historically. It's just different, more or less. Yeah. Anyways, bro, it's cool. What you have anything coming up? Anything exciting?
Let's see.
Anything to look forward to?
Going to VidCon coming up.
I got it worked out.
Yeah, on the 19th.
Dope.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's Anaheim.
Mm.
So we try to, celebrate a little Juneteenth at the same time being out there, but, it'd be cool connecting with people in the creator comedy space. So that'd be dope. Definitely going to be going to protests this Saturday, DTLA.
Oh, down with everything going on?
So I think it's obviously like connected, but June 14th, Flag Day, I believe, is being set up as No King's Day. So just an organization or organized effort to kind of stand up and march against the idea that we established this country to not have kings, and anything that's happening in an authoritarian way obviously is against that. So yeah,
Be safe, my brother.
yeah.
Wish you well. This weekend we'll be in Atlanta. Render ATL. There's a tech conference going on. Speaking there on Friday. That's like my next big thing. So I'll be out for the next few days. Maybe back next week. What else is going on? Oh, we announced it. Just kind of short plug. Let me ask. Do you have any more topics?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah.
Atlanta May Festival. Shout out to Trap Sushi.
Yeah.
Happening in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta May is the first music, hip hop, and anime festival to take over the city. That will be on October the 18th.
Yeah.
As of today, I'm excited to announce that we have finally been able to work with Live Nation to secure this venue. So December 10th will be the kickback in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
So we're doing that just to close out the year and then reintroduce the entire program back in 2026.
Yeah.
So we got some stuff coming up, man.
When's Kickback LA?
2026.
Okay. All right.
So actually got to figure that out. Actually, I have no idea, but it will be 2026 at this point. And it's crazy to even say 2026, but it's like when you play, like it's going to go by so fast.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, bro, I mean, it's been big week in gaming. Literally, LA's biggest week in gaming, and then Black culture's biggest week in gaming just happened simultaneously.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of takeaways to this. We actually got some news today. Hopefully on the next podcast, we're able to share just like in the direction of everything. Should be dope.
Yeah.
But nah, bro, if you don't got anything else, I'm good.
No, I mean, excited to see what happens at Atlanta May Fest. I was watching what's her name? Renee Kudo.
Oh yeah,
Renee
she's
dope.
go crazy. Yeah, she go crazy.
So, that's gonna be cool. And I believe there's something coming up soon. I forget the name of it here in LA, but I believe there's an event coming up soon.
Oh, Anime Expo.
Not Anime Expo. I think it might be associated with Dream Bash, or maybe not.
Dream Bash has one. Dun Dot. Damn, what's the anime called?
Oh, Dun.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, it was funny because don't really be on the anime as much.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, why are you doing it? Is that like the dance party? He's like, nah, bro, it's for the anime. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I gotta do better. But yeah, so you're right. So that is July 4th.
Okay.
It's the same weekend as Anime Expo. LA.
Okay. Yeah.
So we got some stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Gotta pop out.
Yeah, and I think Dodgers having One Piece night. I want to say on July 3rd. So just another traditional media.
Coming into this, let's start pulling all the stuff that's going on.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna just be like a shout out, quick plug at the end of each episode so people can know where to go in their various cities.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. All right. Yo, we out of here. Got some stuff to do. Catch you on in a few weeks. We out.
Yep.